building on my left there is Russell's building. That's where our offices were. Now the American Civil Rights. We had a big pod table, pool table, stuff in there. Now relax, sit around, watch TV, whatever. And
your thoughts are to having speak about
Joe.
yes, sir, buddy. How we doing today?
Beautiful day out today.
Taking a walk through Pittston.
Taking a walk through Pittston.
and
Not right out of the gate.
yeah, well, so much stuff. So let's you know where we shot the scene for the Kelly Baker video?
Filming for It Is What It Is, the true story of the Bufalino family. I'm sure he's proud of what we're doing now. Thank you for the service, U.S. Army, Korea. And then there's this headstone there, buried with Margie, 1933, 2007, 1930, 2013. Angelo Bufalino's headstone. I'm sure he's proud of what we're doing now. Getting the truth out there, Ange. Wow.
A couple months after that.
And Joe's son, Joseph. Gone but not forgotten. Next to his grandpa. What a day of filming. Good day of filming, Joe, huh?
That's it, buddy. It's all good.
Let him know what's coming.
That's it. It's on the way.
The truth is on the way.
Yes, it is. It will be told.
And I'll show you where the trestle was, and all the bullet holes were in there.
So Railroad Street, though, had a lot of.
There was more murders there.
I think they say that was that on what year? What was that, like Prohibition days? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So right here in Pittston.
Because my father was, if he was in the carriage, he was born in 1930, so it had to have been 30 or 31 or 32. You know.
And they said get in the house.
Get in the house. Yeah, and I forget who they shot somebody there. But look up Campbell and Riley. They were union organizers for the mine. They shot them where I lived.
Okay.
In the building there.
You have the deed for the property.
Oh, I have the property deed. It was on Russ's name when he transferred it to my father.
Yeah. I got that for you.
Is that in
Yeah,
there?
yeah. With Russell's name, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
But I
Is that the one on Railroad Street?
Yeah, I think. Well, Railroad or Pine. Is there two of them?
Railroad. It was Railroad. Then they changed it to Columbus Avenue. Pine Street. My father bought that.
Okay. Because I think there's.
Yes.
You know what though? It was Pine Street though, because that's where he already was at. But I believe it was the Railroad Street. It's a deed.
It's a deed. It was on Russ's name. That he gave it to my father.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there was Railroad Street was wild back in the Prohibition days.
I don't know who was not Walter Cronkite. One of them guys. They said if you ever want to kill anybody, take them to Railroad Street in Pittston. The lights go out, the shades go down. Was it Walter Cronkite? One of them old broadcasters. I forget who it was. Well, not Walter Cronkite.
That was wild.
What the frick was his name? I can't think of his name now.
I don't know.
One of them old broadcasters. Yeah, if you want to kill anybody, take them to Railroad Street in Pittston.
Yeah.
Lights go out, shades go down.
Speaking of broadcasters, well, he's more a journalist. What do you think of Corbett?
I like him.
Yeah. He's like the
I like
outlaw.
to meet him.
Yeah, he had balls.
Oh, he got big balls. He went right to Russ's house, knocked on the door.
He
I
needs
couldn't wait for his show to come on. And today we're talking about Billy the Rat Delia. He used to start the show out like that.
Yeah, Steve Corbett.
The
Yeah.
Steve Corbett show. I used to get the biggest kick out of that.
Yeah, no, definitely though.
Billy the Rat Delia.
Yeah, no, Steve's he's a real one though when it comes to the journalism. I mean, he'll
Oh, he jumps right in.
yeah, he's not afraid of nobody.
Yeah.
And I respect that though. But yeah, that's Railroad Street that's the street that they're like,
Walter Windshield, that's who it was. Walter Windshield. He's the one who said, if you ever want to kill anybody, take them to Railroad Street in Pittston. That's the place.
Well, that's good to know. All right, I'll keep
Yeah.
that. I'll keep that in mind. No, I'm just kidding. These days with the cameras and the phones,
Oh,
you can't even punch someone these
No.
days.
But that Camel O'Reilly, I believe they shot him. I think they were union organizers for the mines.
Okay.
They shot them there right where I lived on Railroad Street there. Right in the yard there. There was a lot of people shot at Railroad Street.
My aunt was on the bus going to the Pittston Hospital.
They threw the body on the bus.
They
Yeah.
threw the guy on the bus. He was all full of blood. They just opened the door.
It was like the friggin' Wild West there.
They didn't know what it, but they threw him on the bus and he was all full of blood. They had to take him up to the Pittston Hospital.
So, Joe, when you were a little kid, though, you went for a ride, though, with your father. So that's why when I was asking anything different, tell me that story.
Oh, geez, I don't think I was 5 years old. I went for a ride. He had to bring something out to us out to New York. And I forget where it was. If it was Johnny's restaurant or the Vesuvio restaurant. He ran in with something, and I was sitting in the car waiting for him. And all you see these guys come walking in with the big fedoras on and the overcoats.
Yeah.
But you're 5 years old. What the hell? You don't think about nothing.
Exactly.
Now when it comes back to you,
Yes.
say, wow, I wonder who them guys were.
So then your child, you know what though? Because because when you're just born, you don't know what's going on. You're following your family, you're doing whatever, but it probably took a while, the aftermath of when you look back on it now and you're like, oh, okay.
I could tell you one thing. If I had a list of every job I applied for and I got told the same thing, well, you're a Bufalino. What do you need the money for? What was I supposed to do? We didn't have a tree in the backyard, when the money come off.
Yeah.
It had to work.
Yeah. So then you did, in a way, then get treated then a little different.
A little different as I got older,
So they just thought that you were a Bufalino that you didn't need to work.
Right. Yeah. It said my father had a tree in the backyard, used to grow $10 bills.
Yeah, right. And so maybe that's a buried in the backyard. No, I'm kidding.
I wish he did. I'd dig the yard up.
Right? Well, there's a Jimmy down there. No, I'm kidding.
I said he's up my house in Falls.
Yeah.
He's up there.
Yeah. So, but then
you want to know? I'll give you a good story. I lived on Columbus Avenue, Railroad Street, Pittston.
Okay.
It was Russ's building, and there was 3 apartments there. And I lived downstairs. My grandfather lived maybe 4 doors up the street from me, and he'd come down, and he didn't speak too much English. My grandfather, I was, Italian. He had me digging up the freaking backyard there for a week. I said, Pop, what? There was a still back there. He wanted the copper. I worked my ass off digging up that. I never found it.
You wanted the copper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, that used to be where that building was. That was the Bufalino Soda Factory.
Okay.
It was on Railroad Street in Pittston.
All right.
But apparently they had a still there. But my grandfather remembered that friggin' copper vat. He wanted me to dig it up. But apparently they took it, But we put a couple holes in the yard.
And then what about, though, you were telling me about who was the relative, we were at your father's grave, and you were telling me about the one relative who came in. He's like, I'm like a king over there. I come here, and then they got me.
That was my great-grandfather.
Okay.
My great-grandfather. Yeah, he was over in Sicily. He came over here right away. Well, because they had the sulfur mines over there. They figure, okay, these guys are all miners. We're going to throw them in a hole over here. I don't think he stood here a week and got the hell out of here. He went back to Sicily. But I'm like a king over there. I'm going to come here and kill myself.
Right.
And he didn't last long. Here.
Explain to me who's in this picture here that I'm showing now.
That's Russ standing by the door. My grandfather and John Chandra. And on the other side is my grandmother and Josephine Chandra, John's wife. That's at Russ's house in Kingston.
That's the house over in Kingston.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a great picture.
Yeah.
And look how they used to dress back in the day with the fedora.
They dressed like that just to go down the street.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You ever see the old school baseball games too? You watch old school baseball games, you look in the crowd, everyone's dressed.
Everybody had a suit on.
Yeah. I heard it was James Dean that changed that once the movies came out and he had the T-shirt on and all that. People, because I heard it was almost like illegal to wear T-shirts and stuff like that in a way. But I like, though, that old school dressing in a suit.
Absolutely.
Was it that way even 90 degrees out? People always in a suit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There was right down the street from where I lived was the Montadoro Society.
Okay.
It's about a block down the street. And all the old guys would walk down. And they all had their suits on. And, it was something. It was a better day than today. That's for sure.
What was the one story you told me with the pool hall? The guy though who had the fist that clacked open the guy's what do you call it? Remember you said he punched him so hard though that he split. Who's that? No, see, Joe won't tell any stories, even if people.
I'll tell you one story about when I went in the club. My grandfather always just give me a candy or a soda or something, right?
Yeah.
I went in there one day and there was a nickel bounced off every wall of the ceiling of the place. Just a nickel.
Yeah.
Nice pop, but somebody called somebody a cheater. And that's what it was all about. You better, because they were playing cards.
Yeah.
So that nickel went flying all over. See, not like today. Today, excuse my language, you call somebody a cocksucker, you call them this, that. If you call somebody a cocksucker back then, you better make sure you see them with a dick in their mouth or you were a dead man.
Total different mentality.
Big difference. Big difference.
It seems like the respect factor back then was different. It seems like these days, though, we're losing all respect. Where it's more like, especially with this internet age, Joe. Like
these kids they don't get off their ass. They stay on them damn phones and shit.
Yeah.
They don't even go out of the house.
Yeah.
So they don't know what the word respect means.
Yeah. All that. And the way that Russ and your father were, I mean, no one cooperated in that family.
No.
Until.
Yep.
I mean, that's the only. Dave Estico, no way.
No.
He's a tough guy. What I hear about Dave, though, tough one. And a lot of people, though, are on the fence with Frank because of the Hoffett thing. But I think Frank I'll tell you my theory and let me know if I'm close. I think that Frank could have possibly been out there to keep Jimmy comfortable. And they wanted Jimmy gone years prior, but they didn't do nothing because, I don't know if you'll admit this, but this is what the paperwork says, because Russ, they didn't touch Jimmy until Russ said, okay, enough is enough.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. You had enough chances. Keep your mouth shut and go about your business, and he didn't want to. He wanted to run it his way, and that's what he got.